Hello. So this is a quick run through of what I would do if I was going to work further on from a quick sketch in Gravity Sketch and just nicen it up a little bit and make it much more cool to look at and illustrate my concept in, for instance, something like Photoshop. So basically what I would do is I would start off by grabbing some really nice pictures within Gravity Sketch, finding some angles that I find interesting, as I'm guessing that you're all used to doing. Um, I'm kind of looking for some dramatic angles here to illustrate what kind of concept this could be. The next one is I'm going to find some images to use to integrate into, and I'll just go to a free resource like Pexels and find some images. Then I'll go to Photoshop and I will just open up my Photoshop here. I will start a new document and start working from there. And I think that something like a regular uh, A4 document would do just fine. And I think the first thing I want to import is my motorcycle images because they will be sort of the starting point for where I'll place everything else. So I'll say place embedded. I'll go into workshop files here where I have, yeah, I haven't unpacked those yet. I've just downloaded them directly from SketchCloud, which means that they should be in here. Well, they're not here. They're actually over here. So if I look through these images, you'll see that I have all of these nice images. Some of them I forgot to turn off the coordinate system, but really that doesn't matter that much. I'm just going to open them up and yeah, I'm looking for the ones that I really like. Maybe some of them more. This one is actually pretty nice. Yeah. Yeah, I think I can make that one work. So the first thing I'll do is I'll just clean it up a little bit because I don't really want that logo. So I will just go ahead, make a layer mask so that I have that image on itself. Then I want to place in some kind of background. And let's just see what we have here. Place embedded. I think I downloaded some different ones and just let me see which ones would work best. That one could work. That one could work. I think I'll take this one because this actually could work pretty well, I think. So basically what I'll do here is I'll try and find an angle where I find that this is fitting. And the next thing I want to do is I want to make my motorcycle here sort of in the right angle. So maybe he's kind of driving around on these streets here. And basically one of the things that I probably want to do is I would probably want to make them integrate a little bit more. The first thing I want to do is I want to make the scene a little bit less sort of dominant, and one of the ways I could do this, and I'm not saying that this is what you should do, but I could go in here. I'm just going to inverse this, and then I'm going to take a brush, and I'm just going to see if I can find some interesting brushes here. So I have this one here. I need to shift to white, of course, to have this. And had I been designing this brush a little bit more, I would probably go in and say maybe scattering should be a little bit, shape dynamics, angle jitter should definitely be up, size jitter a little bit. So now I have this more sort of dynamic looking scene here. And then I would put in some levels. To this one. And out the scene a little bit. Something like this. Maybe I would run some, just desaturate it a little bit like this. And now when I turn on this motorcycle, it kind of becomes a little bit more in focus. So the next thing I want to do, I think I want to scale this up a bit so he's kind of riding here. Something like this. And I think what I want to do here is I want to go in and make these components that I could have just as easily worked with these in different colors, but I can also just put color pick inside here. And so I would say select color range, choose this one here, so run down my fuzziness a little bit and go in and maybe say so adding a little bit of color, turning down my fuzziness just a little bit. So basically I'm looking for these kind of colors, and yeah, I could just as easily pick them here on this guy here. I think this is sort of good enough. Maybe I could actually just pick everything, like all of these, and make them into a more metallic look. I think that would be nice. So I'm just gonna very quickly choose these, turn up my fuzziness just a little bit, make my selection, and now I'm going to put on a first off a black and white filter. So those parts are now black and white. Seems pretty good. I need to expand it just a little bit. So in this case here, I might just go in here with a brush and paint over just a little bit. That's way too large. Yeah, so I'm just gonna go in here and do sort of a quick thing here. Okay, so what I'm really trying to do here is actually just sort of removing some of the color spill. Okay, so basically that's going to be the first part, and then I'm going to I think I'm going to make some drawing parts here just a little bit. So let's say that there was some kind of light from this place here. I would maybe just add a little bit of highlights to this area here. So I need to choose a different color here. So maybe I would just, sorry, I'll go with something like this. I would maybe put some emphasis on some of these parts here, just to sort of say, okay, so this might just be, you know, maybe I would just change the size a little bit on this one here. And maybe a dab here, a dab here, a dab here, a dab here. I definitely need something down here. So this is just adding these small details here to emphasize this. This is kind of like a chrome look. Yeah, I think I'm not quite sure what I want to do with this one up here. Maybe I want to turn this into a brighter color. I think actually what I want to do is I want to take this dummy here, which I could have turned off, but I didn't. So I'm just gonna make him into more a part of the scene. I think I want to make him have a color that kind of matches this one over here. So he's kind of he's kind of a little bit too much in focus right now. So actually what I want to do is I want to take, again, my select color range, choose him here, and you can see here that I actually fairly quickly get to the point where I have him selected. And now I just want to go into adjustments, hue and saturation. Let's see that one. So a little bit saturation down, hue maybe something a little bit more in that direction. Maybe I want to go and check out if I can just say image. Yeah, what I want to do now is I want to go and actually I think this background here is kind of annoying me a little bit, so I just want to turn it down a bit. Actually, you know what I want to do? I want to, yeah, I'm just going to work with it for a short while, and then I'm going to add, well, maybe I could do it now. I'm just going to add some filter, motion blur. Let's just see. Filter, blur. Yeah, motion blur. I think that one is going to work well. So distance, something like this. And then I am going to, I think I should maybe, let's just see if this here, if I'm kind of satisfied with this, actually what I want to do here is I want to add something on top of this. So because I want to add a little bit of, yeah, and I'm just going to make a rough selection here. Basically what we could do is we could choose from the colors underneath, but what I really want to do here is I just want to have this part here selected, like this part here, and I'm just going to add to my selection because I also want this part selected as well. But yeah, and for now I think I want to make these into just some selections I can go back and choose from later on, so I'll just add them here. But if I choose this and say, okay, so I only want to have like this front wheel selection here, or back wheel selection, I'll just take that one. I will say Shift Command C to copy only that part, Command V to put it in back again. So you can't see that it's there, but it is. So what I want to do now is I want to put some spinning motion to that. And for that, I'm just going to say select. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to drag it out a little bit. I'm going to make, sorry, like this. I'm just going to make it like this for a short while. Then I'm going to filter, blur, radial blur. Of course that didn't work because I need to make a selection saying exactly where is it I want my blur to happen. So I will just do this again, radial blur like this. And now I can go here and I can actually take this, put it back here. Have it be sort of like that. Well, you know what? That was too much. I'm just going to say filter, blur, radial blur. That was way too much. So maybe just something like this would do it. Yeah, Command D, Command T, and just a little bit of modification here, putting it back like this. And just a little bit of spin there. Yeah, I can tell that I didn't transform it enough. So I just need to bring it back there. And then I will do the same thing with the front wheel here. Again, say I only want the common area between the two, which is this one. I'll say Command C, Command V, and now I have my front wheel, and that one is actually pretty good as it is. So I will just say filter radial blur like this, and maybe we can just move it in just a little bit and just put the transparency down a little bit so we don't have too much. So now we have kind of movement in these areas. I think what I also need to do is I'm taking this down a bit. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take it down in a different way. So I'll go to make this into a smart object, because I want to add another gradient to this, to the transparent of this. So I will add this one here. I will add a something like this. Levels. Just make it a little bit something like this. Yeah, that actually looks pretty good. So and for the last part here, I'm just going to put in so what I'm actually doing here is I'm just going to put in something on top of this that's going to make it be more sort of actually present in the scene. So we're just going to do something like this, and I think the final thing that we're going to do is we're going to I think actually what we're just going to do, I'm going to take this just up a little bit, sort of in levels like this. Okay, so yeah, the last thing I want to do is I want to add another shadow. So I'm just gonna grab the transparency from this, Nope, I want to fill it black like this. ID transform, and now I can, yeah, of course, I still want to go back to this. Kind of did something wrong here because, okay. So what I can do now is I can make sort of a shadowy thingy here, but the shadow is actually going this way. So I need to recreate that shadow. And it is kind of a high shadow, so maybe it's something like this. Yeah. And just a little bit of blur on that one as well. Something like that. So now I've kind of integrated into a scene, and let's just call it something cool. Actually, you know what I want to do? I just want to put in some extra flair, so let's just go with, let's see here if I have something of interest here. No. So let's just go with a word. And let's just call it E and BDE 2021. Oh, this one we're going to make into this one, and this one we're going to make into okay, so this part is going to be black, this part is going to be, let's call it a yellow, like this. And now, of course, the only thing that we're kind of missing from this one is perhaps a color correction down here on the tank, because the reason why I thought that that would be a fun color was because if I say image, select color range, something like this, and I'm just gonna make an adjustment. Let's see here, we want a hue and saturation. We want it to be more of a, could I make a yellow color? Yeah, I'll just choose this one here. And then I will go and take this one here. That's, of course, the easy solution is to just go with what you know. Okay, so yeah, so I think this works pretty well. can I do? What can I do? Yeah, I could start adding other things, but I think for the time that I've spent here, I think this is actually a pretty good example of how to do this. So I would just say that this is enough for now. Thank you very much.